Welcome, everybody, to our webinar today about going global, how to grow your business beyond Canada. This webinar is brought to you by Magnet Export Business Portal and the Government of Ontario, and it's a great opportunity to learn. So here's our agenda for today. First of all, we're going to start off by, I'm going to introduce our speakers. Our first speaker is Ali. Our second speaker, Gwenali. Our third speaker is Joanne Ellsbury, which is a small business owner, which I'm really excited about. And then we're going to have Devin explaining to us exactly how this magnet export panel works for us. So how we can connect with other business owners online. So let me start off by introducing our presenters. Firstly, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Andrew Patricio, and a lot of you know me as a presenter of webinars. I work with small business owners on a regular basis. But let me introduce our panel of experts. I think they're far more interesting than me. So firstly, we've got Ali Ladjardi. He's the director of the BDC Advisory Services in the Greater Toronto Area. In his role, he helps Canadian small and medium businesses prioritize their strategies to grow revenue locally and internationally, while at the same time becoming more productive and competitive through innovation. Throughout his career, Ali has been involved in various aspects of global business, including international sales and distribution, freight forwarding, supply chain management, as well as strategic global expansion through partnership and joint ventures. So lots of experience, really interesting experience, and he's going to share that with us. Ali has a bachelor's degree in biochemical engineering and an MBA in international business. So that's our first presenter. Our second presenter is Gwenali Montagna, and she's got a lot of international trade expertise. She came to Canada in 2012 after 23 years of professional experience across Africa and Latin America. She's today the Director of International Trade Development at the World Trade Center in Toronto. She brings a wealth of skills and experience in developing market presence for Canadian companies in multiple sectors worldwide. So lots of experience. Prior to arrival in Canada, Gwenali was a trade commissioner and sector lead for the extractive sector in sub-Saharan Africa with the Canadian Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade in South Africa. Before joining the World Trade Center in Toronto, Gwenali founded her own consultancy to support small and medium businesses' global expansion, acted as the executive director of the Canadian Turkish Business Council, was a director of Naturalia, and a senior consultant for the Elam Advisory Group. So she's got lots of experience internationally. She has an MBA from the University of Oxford Brookes in the UK and spent her bachelor years at the École des Sciences Économiques Commerciales in Paris, France, and she's the holder of numerous diplomas. So really experienced, which makes me really happy. We've got some experts online. Our third presenter is a business owner like us, which excites me. Joanne Ellsbury is the proud owner of Ladjardi Gourmet Sauces. She's a mother and wife and is very proud. At the age of 47, she reinvented herself to become one of the 3 sauce queens. Wonderful name. Her background is involved working for many different companies, including the Sheraton Centre Hotel, and to most recently the Halton region, where she spent 15 years working in children's services. Joanne prides herself in being a continuous learner. She spent the last few years growing with the company to learn new skills and take new avenues. So business owner that sells sauces, which is always interesting. Then we have from Magnet, Devin Franklin. She's the project manager of the newest addition to the Magnet platform, which we're going to discuss later on in our webinar. Devin works directly with businesses and business support organizations to help raise awareness of the numerous opportunities available to Ontario businesses to help them grow and expand internationally. When businesses thrive, we all do, which I agree 100% with, and Devin wants to ensure businesses have access to resources necessary to grow. So you can see that we've got a great panel of experts online which are going to educate us on how to do it. All right, so our first presenter, Ali. Ali, share with us some of your experience, some of your knowledge, and tell us how to grow our businesses internationally. So take it away, Ali.
Thank you, Andrew. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to share some ideas with you. As Andrew mentioned, my name is Ali Ladjardi. I'm with BDC. Most of you are familiar with BDC. We are an organization dedicated to entrepreneurs. That's what we do day in, day out. All 2,000 of us across Canada in 118 business centers. That's what we try to do through different channels. Many of you are familiar with our financing solution as a bank, what we do and how we help businesses grow through their journey and export journey. I'm coming from the advisory side of the BDC. That's basically supporting businesses as they go through their export journey or growth journey, and we try to help them to go through all those steps to get to the desired state in the future. Before jumping to BDC and how BDC can help you throughout this long journey at times, I'd like to share some ideas with you from your peers, what we hear in the marketplace when we talk to other entrepreneurs, and what we found out through the study that we did a while ago. Basically, one of the conversations that we are having a lot with entrepreneurs is, why do we need to export? What does it bring to us? And most of you agree that on the left-hand side, obviously increasing revenue is a good reason to do that. Diversifying your market, not being dependent on a single market, being Canada in our case, is a good reason to expand our horizon, to go to the new places and explore new things. There are other two reasons that they're not as spoken as they should be, and the reality that when you go outside, you're dealing with the bigger market, you're dealing with more competition. And what that brings to your organization is a discipline of innovation, is a discipline of being competitive and being a better organization. And we test that idea through the study, and I'm going to share with you in the next slide as what that brings to the business. As you see, when you become exporter here, the growth in revenue and profit is faster, while the growth in the resources that you need is not as fast as that growth in sales and revenue and or profit. Which means that through that process of being part of the global supply chain, being more in a more competitive, innovative environment, and learning from different people across the world, we get better. We get better in creating revenue, we get better in converting the revenue to profit, and we get better in utilizing our asset and knowledge and human capital to do that. So that's what a component of what we see in the marketplace. We took that and we said, okay, well, how can we help entrepreneurs to go through this journey? From the financial perspective, there is a whole bunch of solutions that we have. Many of you have used this before or heard of it. There are typical or normal financing solutions that are very flexible for real estate, for equipment, for technology investment. And there are more customized solutions that our teams can help you to put together to support your export project or expansion project. And those are the solutions that come in support of your plans. But the money is not everything for expansion. We realize that businesses need more than just the money to expand and go export. So through the exercise that we did, we put this advisory solution together. We do believe it's a journey. We do believe there are some steps into it. And the way we approach it is really understanding and analyzing the business capacities, capabilities, being the management team, being the product, being the service, being the production capacities of the organization, to understand what do we have to offer if we want to go international, where do we shine. Once we don't know that clearly, we try to identify a market, and that means that where are we going to go? Are we going to Mexico, to China? Are we going to expand more in the state? What is the target market that we want to achieve? And we do a lot of research in that space to make sure that there is an alignment between our service and market and the audience that we are going to address in the new market. Now, obviously, when we have those two components, we need to bridge the two. And that's where the strategizing portion comes to the picture. And basically, we put a plan together to take our strong points, to make sure the audience understand those strong points and go to our desired market with a very defined and stepped approach to expand ourselves in a new marketplace. So you may be anywhere in this journey, as you see on this roadmap here. This is from our website. I do recommend you go to our website. The link is there. If you click on any of these icons, there will be a lot of insight that will be shared with you as what are the steps that you should consider wherever you are in this journey. Some ideas, some best practices that you can apply to your business, and basically learn from it or use some of the tools there to expand to the new markets that you have in mind. Moving forward, I just want to share with you some of the outcomes of the study, and you see the study here is exporting a key driver of SMEs growth and profit. And there is another ebook that I included there about how to succeed in foreign markets. You can download them from our website. There is a lot of insight, but I want to leave you here with two main points. That exporting, as you know, is like starting your business from scratch. Is really needs that drive and entrepreneurship spirit to drive it and get the result out of it. And one of the things that we see a lot is the fact that when we have a resource dedicated to export activities, being the project managing it or running the operations of it, we see the results are being realized with the organization at better level, and overall feeds into the growth that we see at many times more than 20% in a 3-year period in a new market. So I guess, Andrew, I stop here. If there are any questions at this point, or I pass it to you.
So we'll have some questions at the end, but feel free at any time. Any of you online, if you've got any questions, please post them in the question section on the right-hand side of the screen. But Ali, really interesting stuff, and I think I encourage all of you to go to the BDC website and check out some of the resources available. So not only financing, planning, consulting, these are some of the resources available. Thank you very much, Ali. I'll come back to you a little bit later on if you've got any questions, but thank you very much for that presentation. I really appreciate it. Next, we've got Gwanelli to speak to us about the World Trade Center. Are we ready to go global? So Gwanelli, take it away.
Hi, hello, good afternoon, and hello to Ali and Joanne, who I know very well since she's been one of our fantastic star graduates in our TAP program. So hi, everybody. We are the World Trade Center in Toronto. So we are part of a global network of World Trade Centers, about 328 around the world, and we have very close relationship with many of these. So we tap into their resources to help companies go international. So what is our mandate? We are really trying to push small and medium enterprises go international. So if you look at these few figures, when it comes to Canada, we unfortunately are lagging far behind economies of the same level. In Canada itself, only 500 businesses represents over 75%, 76% of total Canadian export. This is very, very low. So it means that the large companies are taking over and the small companies really tend to stay here at home. If you look at what's happening around the world, whether it's Germany or UK or France or the other large countries, on average, they small and medium companies, but between 20 and 30% of them export, and that compares with our 4% here in Canada. So we need to change that in order to make Canada a really large trading country, a nation of traders. If we were going to get to the same level, let's say around 23%, that means that in Canada, we would create an additional 2 million jobs. So we need to move forward. And we have here at the World Trade Center several programs that help do just that. So if people are right at the beginning and they don't know anything about international trade, we have a program called Trade 101. We run it in collaboration with the City of Toronto And we deliver it most of the time in the City Hall, but sometimes we go to North York or Etobicoke, and we really spend 2 to 3 hours with small companies, or sometimes one people company. They have people who want to do something but don't know quite yet how to do it, and we help them to find the right information, put them on the rail to get going. If we deal with companies that already exist, meaning they have been in existence for 2 or 3 years, they already have some revenues, let's say somewhere between $500,000 to $1 million or more, but companies interested in going international but not knowing quite how to do it, or who they should contact to do it, or how am I going to develop a strategy and an export plan to do that. Then we have what we call our Trade Accelerator Program, which we call short in TAP. That program is extensive, has got fantastic results, and I'll come back to it just now. We have then a third program. Once these companies have come through TAP, we try to help them to actually physically move. So we organize a whole range of international missions, whether they are inbound, meaning we welcome delegations from all over, from Saudi Arabia, Netherlands, China, and we organize our own missions to go international. And then we do that. We are just about to take a whole group of companies to China. We organize for them meetings on the ground with the people they want to meet, whether it's buyers, whether it's distributors. We actually put together all programs for them. So let me go into the details of what we do. Trade 101, as I said, it's very basic, but by coming through there, if you don't know anything about international trade, we'll help you understand what you need to do to be global, what you need to do in terms of labor law, in terms of tax. How do you register your company? Do you need to stay on the sole proprietor, or you do need to incorporate? How do you make sure that if you want to design a new website, how you do it? You know, how do you make it international so people attract people from across the world? How do you deal with e-commerce? There are all sorts of questions that come in that can be really covered relatively quickly, so you have an understanding of where you should be doing. Once you have that, we encourage you to come through our TAP program. Now, TAP is a 6 weeks hands-on workshop. You don't come for the 6 weeks with us. You spend only 4 days with us. The program is divided into 3 sessions. You start with 2 days intensive, where you will meet a whole range of people that can help you, from taxation, web design, immigration law, financing, and our friends from BDC are a key component of this program. They're a strong supporter of us. And you will do all sorts of things, from case studies, group discussions, team negotiations. It's very dynamic, very quick, and a lot of companies end up doing actually business with one another. It's quite fun, actually. Then we give companies a template of an export plan during that program, and they go back to the company for about 1 week or 2. And we ask them to start completing that template. Then they come back to us, and for a full day, we help them go through the nitty-gritty of how to write that business plan. So we help them define the SWOT analysis. We help them understanding what their resources are and what their limitations are, and who they need to access in order to increase those resources. So we go through all sorts of things to help them get going with the export plan. Once they've got that export plan started, we give them another 3 weeks to complete it. That on completion, these export plans come back to us. We assess them. We give companies points on what to do, what's right, what's not so good, and where the gaps are, and how we could help them. We ask our partners to read these export plans too, so they can participate in the discussions. And then once all that is done, we bring back all the companies for a full day of mentoring, meaning companies have got back-to-back meetings with each one of the experts. By then, the experts have read the export plan, they understand the companies, and they can bring them solutions. So these companies will have let's say from 9 to 9:30, I'm going to meet with an expert in freight forwarding. From 9:30 to 10, I'm going to speak with an expert in international finance, and so forth throughout the day. So by the time the 6 weeks are done, the companies have done an extensive training in international trade, and the results speak for themselves. So I won't go into the results because Joanne is following me, and she is like an extremely capable lady who will give you a quick understanding of what TAP can bring to you, and the result that she's had herself. So once we've got companies have, as I said, finished TAP, we bring them into MAP, our market activation program, where we will help them meet with the right people internationally. And we also meet these international people here locally, because we get contacted regularly, I would say probably at least once a week, from other companies, from other countries that come from everywhere in the world. At the moment, yesterday, we actually had a room chock-a-block packed with Alibaba. I'm sure you've heard of Alibaba from China. And we end up helping really company push the markets internationally. So this is roughly what we do at the World Trade Center. We welcome all companies to come and join us, and especially if you're ready for either TAP or Trade 101 or MAP, and we'll see where we can best fit you within one of our programs. We are heavily sponsored, so if you qualify for one of these programs, it will not cost you anything. There are some commitments to take to join these programs, but nothing that's outrageous or difficult. So we welcome you to come and contact us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's really interesting. It's amazing some of the resources available out there for small businesses, and I encourage all of you to, check out these resources. They're a great opportunity to learn and to look at the export market. Okay, so next we've got Joanne, and she's going to speak to us about her experience as a business owner trying to export her products. So Joanne, take it away.
Thank you so much, and hello, Gwenaëlle. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, and you are one special lady. So basically, my name is Joanne Ellsbury, and an introduction about my business is myself and my two friends decided to create a sauce company. We forage local vegetables and produce and ingredients into our sauces, and we actually have grown quite a lot since the last time I've been at TAP. And we have a great product. We have 4 sauces currently. We're in over 400 stores. We're going across Canada, domestic, and we got the opportunity to enter the world of exporting. And I'm not sure about who's listening to me, but holy crap, that was extremely overwhelming. Thinking about trading to Hong Kong or trading to the United States, all the rules, the CRA, the CFI, like for myself, because I'm a food product, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency rules and all those things, where do you start? And we luckily started at the TAP program. The TAP program from the World Trade Center and Toronto Region Board of Trade was one of the best investments in time that we could have made for our company. We had people coming to us saying, I represent Wegmans or Publix in the States. We had Hong Kong knocking on our doors because, I have to say food is very, Canadian-made food is very highly regarded in other markets. And we're getting all these requests and inquiries, and where do you start? It's overwhelming. It's myself and my two friends. We're starting this, amazing adventure. So we get to TAP, which is worth, like I said, every second, because not only are you mentored, but you're actually given the task to dive deep into your own company and take a moment to plan. And being an entrepreneur, sometimes that is very hard to do. We're very reactionary. We're putting out fires. Excuse me. We're trying to understand our customers And now on top of that, you're trying to understand a global market. When you look at the ability and the opportunities to trade, of course, the end result is there, but how do you do that? How do you start? Excuse me. So we started with the TAP program. We did the work. We clenched in. We did the exporting plan. We got to speak and be mentored by all of the experts from the BDC, the RBCs, lawyers, all those sorts of things. And we went away and we said, okay, we have a lot of information now. We have a lot of people pointing fingers in which direction we should go. And I have to say, it didn't end there. We had a Hong Kong company that we're still in talks with. And that's one of the things I'm going to say. It takes a long time. If you think exporting is going to be something that, you're going to just go to somebody, knock on their door and sell it to them, think again. You have to understand that this all takes time. And we didn't even know that until we entered the TAP program. And once we entered the TAP program, it became extremely clear that if you did not plan, you did not succeed. And that's what stopped us researching, understanding who's eating what in Hong Kong or in the States, or what's their keys and their trends, like the key words and the trends that are emerging out of those markets. And once you kind of took that moment to slow down based on what you learned from the TAP program, and they're not paying me, by the way, just FYI, you were able then to kind of take it step by step. And so now you're not just coming to the table saying, hey, do you want to buy my sauce? You're coming to the table with all your arsenal. And part of that arsenal that is also amazing is the trade commissioners. So I became very friendly with the trade commissioner in Hong Kong. We spoke quite a few times with regards to vetting companies. The BDC also helped with that. But because you're going to trade with somebody, you're going to sell your wares to somebody, how are you going to get paid? It's like just so overwhelming for a small company. But I really have to tell you, the advice that I have to give in my own personal experiences is this enters you into a whole new world. You are able to feel confident, feel supported, have resources at your fingertips. It's not so much starting from scratch, more so than starting from a spot of a little bit of understanding of what you have behind you. When you look at the numbers of who's trading in Canada, and small business is not really making up that number. For us, we wanted to make sure that we changed that. And our products are very high quality. They have a price point. And so what the TAP program and doing the exporting plan did was really understanding markets that would support a higher end Canadian product, and researching and researching and researching. So I am happy to say, based on those, we've had some really great wins. One of them is in Mexico, in Cabo. There's a beautiful boutique kind of store that now we've got a distribution. We're going to start doing that by the probably middle of this year. We have Wegmans and Publix that we've been talking to, and these things take time. So in your plan, you have to take that kind of stance that this is not going to be a quick thing, because there's so many elements. Like I said, do you have distribution set up? Your customers in all these markets want to know that this is going to go smoothly, just like you want to go smoothly. We have a Sri Lankan company and Saudi Arabia company that are interested in us, and we're working through all of those bits as well. And I'm telling you, I would never have been here if I did not take the TAP program. Again, they're not paying me. I just mean it that it really provides you with a vote of confidence. You've got experts in the room. I've made connections now. And I guess just to end off, the only thing I would say is make your plan and work your plan and use it as a revolving document, because nothing ever stays the same. And if you don't change your plan based on your new knowledge and your support from the trade commissioners or from the World Trade Center staff, Toronto Region Board of Trade staff, those are the resources that you've been gifted to have. And if you don't use them, then, really, why are you exporting? So I've had such a great experience Gabrielle, you know, and I don't even know what other to say than thank you for all your support. But I have to say, one of the best things that we did was take that TAP program to be able to allow us to really gain the confidence to understand that our product is good enough to, you know, hit the shelves in lots of different markets, but make sure that the plan supports that and we have everything in place. So that's, you know, I could talk for about 3 more hours on this, so I will end it here, but that's my experience, and I'm so thankful that I got to share it with you.
Thank you very much, Joanne. A really inspiring story. I think, you know, it's so key to understand as a small business owner, there's opportunities for you to export. And you heard Joanne's story about the importance of the Canadian brand, about some of these countries. I mean, Wegmans, what a great example of a company that you can export to. Okay, so next we've got Devon Franklin, and she's going to be sharing with us a great new resource for businesses that we can use to connect and learn. Just make sure you unmute yourself, Devon. But she's going to share with us some of her experience using Magnet and how we can use this to help our businesses grow. So Devon, take it away. Share with us some experience and some of your knowledge about Magnet Export Portal and how we can use it to grow our businesses.
Perfect. Thank you, Andrew, and thank you to my fellow panelists, especially you, Joanne. It always really is encouraging when you have a real business owner speaking to the success of a program, and I think it really will resonate with our business audience today. So where does the Magnet Export Business Portal fit into some of the excellent resources that we've heard from BDC and the World Trade Center? So the Magnet Export Business Portal was launched in November of just this past year, and it really was with the incentive to ensure that businesses are tapping into all these phenomenal resources and services, programs that are available to businesses, but sometimes can make it very daunting to actually navigate and find. So to Joanne's point, as a small business, you are busy running your business, and sometimes export is so far on the back burner that you miss out on opportunities that are readily available to you, just by virtue of having too many websites to check out, too many different things to try to read and keep up with. And so the Magnet Export Business Portal was really developed to try to resolve some of that, some of those challenges for small businesses, and making sure that those resources are finding the right businesses, so businesses are ready to grow and scale. And so what it really is about leveraging opportunities. So we partner, and you can go to the next slide, Andrew. So we've partnered with the Government of Ontario, Global Affairs Canada, BDC, who you've heard from today, EDC, and we've just partnered with the World Trade Center Toronto to ensure that the phenomenal resources and programs, services, funding opportunities, trade missions that are available to businesses are making it to those businesses. And so we do that through a targeted communication system. So as a business, you come into the system and you create a profile, and I'm going to go through what those questions are just in a minute. And what that allows for you to do is get push notifications from our service and program providers right to your inbox based on your eligibility. So it's really trying to take the guesswork out of programs and services and funding opportunities, so you know when you get an opportunity in your inbox that you're eligible for it, that it's relevant and timely. So we really hold ourselves accountable to making sure that the content isn't expired in the system, because one of the greatest grievances from businesses is getting halfway through an application for a funding program or seeing a great event like Trade 101, clicking on it and realizing you've missed the deadline to register. And so we really do hold ourselves accountable to making sure that the content in system and what's getting pushed to businesses is timely and relevant to your business. And we partner with great organizations like the World Trade Center Toronto so that you can leverage those opportunities. So based on how you've developed your profile, you'll be targeted with whether it's the Trade 101 program that makes most sense for your business, the TAP or the MAP program, based on how you fill that out. So we work collaboratively with the export experts to make sure that their programs and services are making their way into your inbox. And that's the same with the BDC ebooks. They're all available through our system as well to push right to your inbox, so you never miss out on that timely information to help you think about how to really export and grow your business. So it's as simple as going to WTCT, so World Trade Center Toronto.magnet.today, and click the Join Today. That will take you into our onboarding process. So it asks for your organization name, first name and last name and email address, you're able to add up to 5 different users to one business account. So if the person who's on the call today is maybe the director or president of the business, but you'd really like to have some of your other coordinators and managers also being able to be notified of these opportunities, you're able to add up to 5 different emails to one business account. And so that helps to make sure that everyone on your team that should know of these services and programs can all get the same information. You'll get an email in your inbox that will ask you to confirm your account, and then it'll throw you into our onboarding questions. Getting through the onboarding takes a few minutes. We've tried to really condense the profile to really only ask you the questions that we really need to in order to target you with communications. For your information, everything that's collected is completely private and confidential, so it's not shared with any of our partners, and just allows our partners to be able to see the information at an aggregate level. So you fill out your industries and markets served based on the North American industry codes, your organization type, so private for most of our callers on today, number of employees, so it asks for a range, and your founding date. So to Gwenola's point, a lot of our programs typically have, you have to be established for up to 2 years for certain programs or be a startup for other programs, so that founding date becomes really important. The same for industry and market served. For a lot of our trade missions, they are sector specific or industry specific, so it allows us to be able to push trade missions and funding opportunities that are specific to your industry and that you're eligible for. Step 2 asks you if you're currently exporting. So if you're not exporting, you only have 2 additional questions to respond to in terms of total sales revenue, and if there are any markets of interest that you would be interested in exploring when it comes to exporting. But as you can see, you can hit don't know yet, because we know for a lot of businesses, being brand new to exporting, you're not sure where you should be looking or what you should be exploring. If you hit yes, which is my next slide, you get a few additional questions. So if you hit yes, you again get the total sales revenue. We want to know kind of where you are in terms of your export percent of your revenue, the numbers of years that you've been doing export related services, your current export markets, and again, if there are any export markets that you're interested in. That just again allows us to, if you highlight that you're really interested in understanding more about the Chinese markets, we can really push that notification. So the inbound mission that the World Trade Center is hosting from Chinese delegates would be something that we would push in system to those businesses that highlight China as a market of interest. So as you can see, it's a very simple sign up process, and once you've completed all of those questions, you land on this homepage that has what looks very similar to other social media channels, so Twitter, Facebook. It's like a news feed on your first homepage, and that allows you to see all of the information, all the programs, services that you're eligible for. But we understand that businesses don't need another thing to sign into to check on a daily basis. And so this is connected with your email account that you use during sign-in. So you get targeted communications on a weekly basis of every new opportunity that you're eligible for. So again, it allows you as a business owner to never miss out on some of those opportunities, and to be able to see kind of what is out there when it comes to export related services and programs that you're eligible for. And the last note that I'll add is within that profile, we also have a learning center, and that's something that is being developed. So things like our resource today of the webinar, but also other fact sheets about your specific industry, information that you should know about our programs. It gives you a bit more information in that learning center to be able to really understand how to leverage those opportunities. So we hope that after today's session that you'll go and build a profile and start getting targeted communications of all of the export related programs and services that you're eligible for. And we're very fortunate to have the expertise of our panelists today, who are our partners on the portal, and really making sure that we are getting those programs and services to the businesses that are really ready to take that next step to growing and scaling internationally. So I'll stop there. I hope we have lots of questions for our panelists, because they're here to answer any of those questions. Thanks.
And Devin, this is available immediately. I mean, people can go and sign up straight after the webinar. They can go and sign up for the Magnet, the platform straight away.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll also send out communications after the webinar with the link to sign in. But yes, if you go back to that slide that had the World Trade Center Toronto.magnet.today, so WTCT.magnet.today is available. And like I said, it allows you to tap into our information from the Ontario government, Global Affairs Canada, BDC, EDC, as well as all of the World Trade Center Toronto programs.
So just remember, we'll be sending you some information after this webinar on some of these links, so you can just check them out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through a question and answer section. There's quite a few questions here. And if anybody else has got any questions, please feel free to post them in the question section on the right-hand side of your screen, and I'll make sure that we answer this. So one of the first questions I've got here is about exporting services, because we spoke a lot about exporting products. And maybe, Gwanali, you can share with us some of your experience of any business owners, Canadian business owners that are exporting their services. And is it a similar process? Do you still have to need to go through the research? What is your experience on this?
Yeah. At the end of the day, services or products, when it comes to selecting a market or design a strategy, the process is exactly the same. You have to focus, meaning you can't just decide, okay, I'm going to go to Europe. That doesn't work. There are like quite a few countries in Europe, so you have to figure out which one you want to go to. You have to define why you want to go there. You have to define, okay, how am I going to go there? So there's a whole load of processes which do not differ at all, whether you have services or product. Now, once you're designing your strategy and when you think about all the various elements you need to cover in order to get to country X, then yes, there are differences. Obviously, when you are into services, you don't need to use a plane to take your cargo from A to B. You will still need to design some communication strategies. You're going to need to find out a person on the ground who's going to represent you in order to, to sell your product or your services. It could be in terms of IT, it could be hosting your data somewhere else. Is that data safe? Is it, what's the regulations in terms of control of that data? So there are all sorts of things that are linked to services which are pretty similar to what you would do when you have a market. There are some differences, but I would argue that 90% of the process to go international is the same whether you have products or services.
Really interesting. So I've got a question here for Joanne. So one of the questions here is, how did these people find you? So how did you get these leads? For example, you spoke a little bit about clients in the US, you spoke a little bit about potential business in Hong Kong and Sri Lanka. How did these people find you, Joanne?
Excuse me. Mostly they found us by, we actually, let me just think how this worked. So we did a lot of networking. We did a lot of networking through the Toronto Board of Trade, but also the Ontario Ministry. And we also used a portal that is out of BC. But the one in Hong Kong, we met through another producer, and they were speaking, so I guess my short answer is a lot of networking. We spent a lot of time on marketing and networking, and they came to us based on, I guess through different channels. But I think that was maybe the long way around to answer. A lot of networking and social media.
Really interesting. That traditional way of getting customers still works wonderfully. The importance of networking, which sometimes we neglect as business owners. So I've got a question here. I've got a question here for Devon. So Devon, the portal, once you get on there, first of all, it's free to join. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And then it sends you an email once a week. Is that how the system works?
Yeah, so it'll send an email once a week if there are new updates to the system that you're eligible for. So it is a kind of living, breathing site. It's not, the first time you sign up and that's it. Those are all the opportunities you're eligible for. It's something that we update on a daily basis and update regularly with our partner opportunities. So if you don't get an email from us one week, it doesn't mean that, that's kind of it for your opportunities. It just means that there was nothing uploaded that week that you were eligible for. So the system really is a smart use of technology in that it only will target businesses that are eligible for that opportunity, service, funding program, content in our learning center. So again, it's a once a week email if you're eligible for some of the content that we've uploaded that week. So for some businesses, they'll receive emails once a week. For other businesses, they may receive an email every third week based on the eligibility criteria of the programming and based on the funding cycles from some of our partners that have funding opportunities, like the various ministries within the Ontario government.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Can I just say something to tail off of that?
Mm-hmm.
As a small business owner, and your hands are in about 15 different pots, we sometimes tend to classify emails as, you know, nice to reads, or you know, and in the beginning you don't really put the time in to review what you're being sent. So when we first started taking TAP, and then we were getting all these, you know, we were members and getting all these emails about, you know, what's out there and what's important, and we had to say, okay, we need to slow down. There's some really great opportunities to be included in some things. And once we started doing that, that's where the doors opened. Before that, it was like, okay, yeah, I don't have time to read that email because I'm so busy. But just to say what Devin was saying, when you get these opportunities, take that time to actually read them, because there's so many supports involved in those emails, you know?
And I think, Joanne, to your point about networking, I think that has consistently been a comment that we've heard from businesses, that really attending those inbound missions, attending those networking opportunities, attending events, as much as it seems cliche to say, just get out there. It is one of those, one of those opportunities where that's where you meet like-minded businesses. That's where you meet experts like those from the World Trade Center Toronto and BDC, who really can help you to start connecting to the opportunities available to grow and scale your business. And that's something through the portal that we push a lot of, webinars like these, in-person events, the Trade 101, and those types of opportunities to really just get out there and start meeting people who are likely having the same questions as you, and the experts that really can answer those questions.
Well, plus too, you don't even know who you're going to meet. I mean, I have a beautiful organic olive oil gentleman that I met at one of these things. And now I'm purchasing totes of his olive oil. So not only am I giving him market access, I'm getting a really wonderful product. So, you never know.
Really interesting. So, Ali, I've got a question for you from one of the audiences. So when it comes to the BDC, which parts do they finance? Just give us a little bit more detail about that. Is it, when we go to the BDC for financing, if we're going to be exporting, can you give us a little bit more specific details about which parts they could finance, obviously?
Sure, I try my best. Obviously, my colleagues from financial side can help more with that. But typically, our expansion plan and our financing solutions can deal with everything under the export plan, being the plans that you're putting together. If you're going for consulting or advisory type activity, we can finance that process and help you to manage your cash flow throughout the planning process. That I think Joanne explained very nicely. Why is it important? When it comes to expansion and the capacity building on equipment, on technology, inventory, everything that you need to get ready for that expansion plan, we can support you through that. There are different channels, there are different programs. The best way would be for us to sit together to understand your steps and basically tailor something that is aligned with your journey. But basically everything from the planning stage to capacity building to export itself and building the inventory, if you're a product company, can be covered through those channels.
Really interesting. And then we mentioned earlier on EDC, and I'm just, can anybody explain, first of all, explain the acronym so everybody understands what the acronym is, and then really what do they help businesses do? So maybe you can tell us, Joanne, because you seem to have the experience, with educating people about exporting. Tell us a little bit about what EDC is, first of all, and what EDC can do for businesses.
Okay, well, EDC is Export Development Canada. They are the crown corporation, so it's the banking side of the Canadian government to help companies go international. So they are in a complete independent entity. So they have to be profitable. They're like a normal bank, but in that aspect, but they are capable of taking much higher chances and risks than a normal bank would take. So they would help companies access all sorts of services to facilitate the penetration in new market, to help them cover all sorts of risks. Like, for example, one risk they have, let's say you can take an insurance with any contract with a company outside Canada, and let's say that client doesn't pay you. If you have an insurance, EDC would cover 90% of that cost that was not covered. So they do all sorts of things. They cover political problems. They have all sorts of insurances to help you, and they are really, really great with companies going international. If a client doesn't pay you in another country, they can even write a letter to that client. And very often, when that company receives a letter that's literally the government of Canada, they tend to be much more careful about not paying. So they have a lot of pressure that they can put. They have a lot of power, and they are wonderful. They have a lot of account managers that will go the extra mile to help companies move beyond Canada.
And the only thing I'll add to that, Devin, from Magnet, is that EDC's learning content is also great. They host webinars as well that we push through in system, as well as quarterly reports on everything from different markets, how to use social media to help build your brand. So they have a lot of excellent learning content from the research that they've put into growing internationally as well. That's available.
Yeah, you can find a lot of market research on their website. You can find all sorts of information to help you going international. So I would recommend any small company, or not so small for the matter, to actually be familiar with EDC. So their website is edc.ca, and you will find a very, very broad range of resources there.
Thank you very much.
Okay. One thing too, if that's okay, just quickly. I think the biggest takeaway from the TAP program was that kind of support after the TAP program was completed, and we actually took our exporting plan that we used from TAP and sat with the EDC and mapped out, based on our exporting plan, kind of when we could be ready to really actually export, how they could help us, what support. So we continually meet with them as a part of our team. We've included them as part of our team. So it's they're really good at supporting you, and they might not be able to help right away because you got to, do the work, but they can definitely support your whole process.
Really interesting. So I've got a question here for Devin about trade missions. So on the Magnet site, is there access to the trade missions available? Because I find this is really interesting for small business owners. Sometimes they're not even aware, of trade missions. Is this information available? And also the trade commissioners in the countries, how do they find this information out? Can we find that on the Magnet website?
Yeah, so the trade missions are all, like I said, it's kind of changing our thinking of how we use the website. So again, the portal is meant to push communications to the business rather than the business having to go look. So it really isn't a directory where you can go onto the portal and look at all the available trade missions, because there are a lot. Instead, we're reversing the order of communications where you're only targeted with trade missions that you're eligible for, because a lot of the trade missions, like I said, are either industry specific or sector specific, and they have eligibility criteria for a lot of them that we kind of vet and go through on our end before we push them in the system. And so we push the trade missions in the system targeting businesses who are eligible based on the criteria that the organizer, whether it's Global Affairs Canada, that is organizing it, and push it through. In terms of the Trade Commissioner Services, that's another resource that's available in the Learning Center, where you'll be able to click and see all of the trade commissioners, where they're, what country they're in, or again, if they're industry or sector specific, and to be able to connect with them. But that's the same with all of our trade missions and really any of our programs that we push out. There's always the link back to the host website. So if it's the Trade 101 program, program. There'll be a link to be able to register and get more information. And if available, we always include the contact information as well if the business that's been targeted with this communication just wants to reach out directly to them as well. So again, if you build a profile and you're not immediately targeted with a trade mission, it just means that the trade missions that are being offered by our partners right now, you're not eligible for. But like I said, it's a living, breathing portal. And so every time there's a new trade mission, new event, funding program, that's all repopulated into the system, and you'll be notified if you're eligible for that.
That's wonderful. So one email just summarizes all the information. We don't need to be running around looking for information, and you get an email, not too many emails. So we got a couple of minutes left. So I just want a couple of final words from each one of you, and we'll start off with Ali. A couple of final words for everybody online about exporting, about the BDC, anything that could be really useful for us.
I go back to Joanne's point about this is a long journey. It can be scary and at times, but it is enjoyable. And when you have the support system, can bring very good results with it. So I guess it's important to plan and go through the steps that you need to, and most probably the results will be there, and it will come to you. So I think she said it very nicely, and that's a very good story. That if you can repeat this story, that would be great for all of us.
Thank you very much, Ali. Next, Gwanali, tell us a couple of final words for us so we can end off the webinar.
Yeah, if I had to summarize how to become successful internationally, I would say focus, plan, and get help. If you manage to do these three, you have every single chance of becoming a good business and making a good living out of going international. And come and join TAP. We'll be happy to have you on board.
Excellent. Joanne, a couple of final words.
Well, first of all, you can do this. Believe it. We didn't. And then we went to the TAP program. So go to the TAP program. But you know what? Research. Take the time. Like Gwanelle said, focus. But also believe in yourself. It's really hard to know what's out there if you don't know, believe in yourself and your business, because there's so many people out there that love Canadian products, love Canadian services.
I think it's a wonderful example. People love Canadian products and services. And Devin, a couple of final words.
Yeah, so just to echo Gwanelle and Joanne, the get help part of growing internationally is what the Magnet Export Business Portal is here for, is really to make sure that you are understanding all of the different supports and resources that are out there for you, and that you're getting the communications of ones that you're explicitly eligible for. So I do encourage you to go to the link that right now is on your screen, the World Trade Center Toronto, so wtct.magnet.today, and create an account and start receiving those notifications of when the next Trade 101 program is going to be launched, or if you're eligible for the TAP program, how to take that next step. Like I said, there's all of those resources and information out there, and we're just trying to make sure that you get the right information for your business at the stage that it's at.
Thank you very much, Ali. Thank you very much, Devin, Gwanali, and Joanne. Thank you very much for your presentations. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, everybody online, for joining us this afternoon. I think it was a great opportunity to learn. Remember, we will be communicating with you after the webinar, so we'll send you a link to the Magnet site so that you can sign up and put your profile on there, which I encourage every single one of you to do. And the most important thing that we heard is the Canadian brand is a powerful one. There's opportunities for us to grow internationally. So maybe let's also start making our own source or exporting our own service internationally and grow our business. That is my wish for every single one of you. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon, and I look forward to meeting you on future webinars.